Hello everybody, it is me, Jurassic Alt, here to say that today we're going to be talking about the timeline for Submechanophobia, Bobby Dot's conclusion, and Nexi. I'm going to do all of the stories and try and put them in a timeline. I'm very excited to talk about this. I will be doing the next 3 books, and if there's not a next 3 books, I will just do what's ever left and then do a big timeline. But yeah, let's get started. So let's start off with Submechanophobia. So I'm going to put Submechanophobia in the Glamrock Bonnie / grand opening part of the timeline, and the reason why I'm saying that, it mentions that the Pizza Plex just opened up 2 towns over, and it's new. Something that it mentions in Submechanophobia is that Kanan's grandma has some of her house stuff from the 70s, which actually means that's another connection which will definitely be helpful in the big timeline, because I want dates, months, years when I think his stuff is coming out. Kanan's grandma had stuff from the 70s. So the Mimic, which we'll talk about in a little bit, mentions that it was in the 70s. So there's some cool stuff there. And another thing, they mentioned Penguin's Pizzeria, which was so happy. I was so happy to hear that I've been trying to figure out where they said Penguin's Pizza. I know they mentioned it one time. Finally found it. Here it is. They mentioned Bonnie, Chica, Freddie, and Foxy. They do not mention any Monty or Roxanne Wolf or DJ Music Man, any of that stuff. So it seems like another thing is that it's earlier because the Glamrock ones don't seem as well known yet. They're kind of somewhat new. So I'm going to put this at the beginning of the time. The second story I'm going to be talking about is Animatronic Apocalypse. And I think Animatronic Apocalypse is in the modern Pizza Plex. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I originally had it to be Roxy and Monty, but it seems like Roxy and Monty were always kind of part of Fazbear Entertainment, so I'm just going to keep it to modern Pizza Plex for now. It might change if I might make it to be more specific of Monty came in first and then Roxanne, but for right now I'm putting modern Pizza Plex because it's the one that seems like the most accurate to the full game. So I'm going to put Animatronic Apocalypse in the modern time of the Pizza Plex. And all the epilogues are in the aftermath of FNAF 6 and construction of the Pizza Plex because, well, it's before the building is made. So I'm going to put them in the aftermath / under construction. Not under construction, in the construction kind of time zone. Now, for Bobby Dot's Part 1 and the conclusion, I'm putting it in the late modern time in the Mega Pizza Plex because it mentions L-Chip, mentioned Roxy Raceway, it mentions DJ Music Man, it mentions the daycare, it mentions Bonnie Bowl, and it mentions a giant Golden Freddy statue. If there's anything else I forgot, I will mention it. But this seems like the latest one in the series so far of connecting time. Now on to GG. I'm putting GGY in the modern Pizza Plex because it mentions that there is Bonnie's Bowls and Fazzer Blast. It also does mention Chica's Feeding Frenzy and Monty's Golf. So yeah. It also mentions Puppet's Arcade Puppet Swoosh, which is in the, I want to say, West Arcade. Now, the storyteller is very interesting because the storyteller was the reason why I made the, air quotes, this switch over. I feel like the storyteller is kind of the in-between of the old look of the Mega Pizza Plex, of having a castle kind of look, and with the new looking look of the Pizza Plex, of having it to be what it looks like now. I think this is the cause of the switch over, because this seems like when Glitch Trap takes over, or the Mimic One programming takes over, the whole Pizza Plex and causes what seems to be a lot of problems, because another story happens at the exact same time, and I feel like this seems like a big event to cause a, air quotes, kind of rebuild Mega Pizza Plex. And that will bring us to our next story, which is Nexi. Nexi happens during the storyteller going crazy, because the storyteller only lasts for 2 weeks. Because in Nexi, it mentions that the storyteller is going off and going crazy. And that's why I'm putting Nexi in the switchover part, because it's mentioning the storyteller is going off. And then there is Drowning. I'm going to put Drowning in the modern day Pizza Plex. And it was kind of hard. It was kind of really difficult where in the timeline the story goes, because you mainly stay in the VR kind of hypertime area. But something that kind of was a major, one major thing that was kind of clear, and is that it mentions that there was a West Arcade, and it mentions that there was a Freddy Street Gang that one of Kara's friends were playing, and we see one of these games in the Security Breach. I believe that the hypertime machine and the hypertime effect, kind of all of that, is after they make the AR machine that Maya uses, and after Somnophobia. And now to our final story, which is the Mimic. So I'm putting the Mimic in Freddy's Pizzeria and Fazbear Entertainment because it mentions that the story is taking place in kind of the 70s, maybe 80-ish era kind of timeline, which puts it way back before the Mega Pizzaplex, and what it seems like when Fazbear Entertainment was either starting to get its ball rolling of becoming a bigger, more monstrous company, or when it was kind of starting to peak, because it mentions in that story that there's a lot of unique animatronics that we see now in the new Mega Pizzaplex, but back then we never saw them in the games because they were kind of like the mediocre melodies of kind of side characters that they were making up. So yeah, here is my timeline. Here's the full timeline of the 4 through 6 books. That is my theory on timeline. This timeline was surprisingly a lot easier to handle. It wasn't as confusing and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It means so much to me you took the time out of your day to watch this video. Guys, I'm really proud of the timeline. I think it's good. I think it's pretty accurate. I feel like it seems like what is in the books and what Scott Cawthon's trying to hint at, and I'm very excited to do like a big, air quotes, big timeline where it's all the books, and like when that comes out, I'm like slowly whittling at it. I wanted to do 1 through 6, but I'd rather do these in chunk of 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 9. Like I think that's a digestible, easy handling thing to do. But I'm excited because I want to try and eventually do like the first book, The Mimic, was started out in 1985 because it says this and this, and that's a connection. I can't wait to actually do the big timeline figures. I feel pretty confident of what I have so far. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It means so much to me to take time out of your day to watch this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and remember, thumbtacks and asparagus. Whoa.